This is Ryan Cantor, a writer for TigerNet and Shaking the Southland. And in this video, we're talking about 3 things to expect from Garrett Riley's Clemson offense. The first is explosiveness. Clemson was actually pretty good at third down conversions. They ranked 12th in the country, and TCU only ranked 57th. But despite that, TCU scored 5.6 more points per game, ranking them 9th compared to Clemson at 30th. The difference is hitting the big plays. And Garrett Riley's offense schemes to hit big plays rather than slowly matriculating the ball down the field. Maybe different in the NFL, but in college football, it's a little unrealistic to expect a lot of very young players to play perfect, flawless, penalty-free football for 15-play drives. So attacking, going for the kill shot is going to be one thing Clemson does a lot more often. The next thing is tempo. You should see Clemson play with a lot more tempo like they used to, maybe not all the way back to where they were in the Chad Morris days, but at least a couple of years ago. The past couple of seasons, Clemson's really got away from playing with tempo. Brandon Streeter did it a bit more than Tony Elliott, who was a bit more deliberate in some of his play, some of the tempo. But I think we'll see a lot more of that, try to get more snaps in. We actually saw a little bit of it in the Orange Bowl, but I think with Garrett Riley, you'll see a lot more. Finally, and I think the most important and most exciting is dictating the terms to the defense and not always taking what the defense gives you. Of course, there are plenty of situations where there's a stacked box, you don't necessarily want to run into it, so you're passing that situation or vice versa, right? But if your best players are your running backs and that's working, you can't be so scared that you get away from it as soon as you see the defense start adjusting. Sometimes you have to make them stop you. And Garrett Riley's offenses don't get away from their best players like Clemson's did all too often. If you think back to the South Carolina game this year, Clemson was running the ball well, South Carolina adjusted, and they didn't really stop the run, but Clemson got away from it because the pass was there. But the quarterback and wide receivers are struggling, so it didn't matter. I don't think you'll see that with Garrett Riley. I did a Q&A with Anthony North from Frogs O' War, TCU website, and here's what he said about this. The reads from the TCU offense were less taking what the defense gives you and more force the defense into impossible dilemmas where whatever choice they make will be exploited. I think that is the biggest encouragement for Clemson fans who are excited about a new offense. I don't think it's quite fair to expect Clemson to immediately bounce back to the kind of super productive offenses they had with Trevor Lawrence, but I think they can be closer to that than where they've been the last 2 years.